You have the floor, so you're gonna have to start from ground zero and explain everything.
Okay, got it. Just want to launch right in?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Wasn't sure how formal of a meeting this was, or...
This is the select board, town administrator, and you need to state your name and tell us all everything.
Okay, excellent. My name is Ben Davis, and I am with a company called Even Keel, of which I founded. Even Keel is the parent company of a couple of subsidiary businesses, of which I founded with my sister, Emily Davis. We are from Noblesboro, Maine, right down the street. Went to Lincoln Academy and started this group of businesses here in Maine in 2017. As a little lead up, and it'll have to do with the community development block grant, which we're talking about, and then what we plan to do down the street and moving into your town of Woolwich here, which we're really excited. And I'll show you what this is right here. Brought a little show and tell as well. So, is this okay if I just like this? Okay, great.
So you can explain what block grants are.
Yes, if it helps, I'll give you a little context of who we are, what we're doing, and then how it relates to the community development block grant and how that works with you all. And just I am just a business owner. I'm not the expert at the community development block grant. The folks from the state and also from the region were on vacation this week, so they weren't able to make it today, but I have been through this once in our hometown of Noblesboro. We've already done this, so I know a little bit, and then we'll get the professionals in here who really know and administer the program. They'll be able to answer a lot more questions, but I'm here to introduce myself and then also kind of just get us kicked off and answer what I know, along with that one pager that was written by Mary Ellen Barnes from Lincoln County, and she's the...
Oh, that's who wrote this? Okay.
Yeah, Mary Ellen wrote that, and she helped us with a community development block grant that we got in 2020 in Noblesboro for $250,000. So my sister Emily and I, we started our first business in our group, Portland Container Company, in 2017. It's a portable storage business. You've seen pods, that sort of stuff. They're also up in the mid-coast. There are a couple of local regional folks. Kind of that got us into modular buildings. My background is all in marine boat building, and I was a boat captain. Took me all over the world after Lincoln Academy, and I came back here to Maine. My sister went from Lincoln Academy to Boston and then New York, and she was in high-end fashion. And on the business side of that, our dad got sick here, so he moved us back to Maine. And we started a business together. That business of little containers quickly morphed into Opportunity Box, which is our second business, and that's what we're most well known for here in Maine. We work with big brands like LL Bean and other things like that, and we started making metal containers in pop-up shops and little art galleries and restaurants and beer gardens and all kinds of stuff. And when we hit the pandemic, we couldn't get the little metal boxes anymore, and the price shot right up. So we had to get a little creative and be a little engineering and be good Mainers and figure it out. And so what we did was we came up with a composite system that first started out a lot like you build boats with polyester resins and stuff like that. That was about 3 years ago. So we couldn't buy boxes from China, so what we did is we created our own material here in Maine and started making that material in Noblesboro. And the unique thing is we partnered with a company and we use this core material here, which is recycled plastic bottles. So this is recycled PET plastic, literally that right there, that's ground up and extruded into a foam board. We came up with the laminates and then we assembled the panel and built buildings with it. That was 3 years ago. We've now developed this building system into what it started with, which was very crude, into what you see here. We call it the Adura building system. And we're in the ICC certification process for national building certification and testing, and we're scaling up the assembly process of this building material to sell it to everybody. So
the material, not the buildings?
So we're a group of companies, so we have separate teams under the parent company umbrella. So So Opbox is the team in Nobleboro that take this material and they build little buildings. We still sell these independent buildings to people like LL Bean and.
Well, how big is a little building?
It's everything from 8-foot by 10-foot pop-up shop to we will be building up to 600 square foot homes, accessory dwelling units. So that sort of thing, single bedroom, 2 bedroom, that sort of thing. But the main purpose of moving to Woolwich is setting up our assembly line to make this material. We can only build so many buildings ourselves, so in our scaling process, we will be making this material and shipping it out on trucks to, to sell it to contractors and Hammond Lumber and all kinds of people.
But you'll also be using it for Opbox.
Yeah, we use it for ourselves, and then because we can make a lot more of this material than we can make buildings of. So we're going to be able to produce down the street about 30,000 square feet a month of this material. What you're looking at here is we make it down to, this is 3/4, about 1/2 inch up to 10 inches thick. And this one piece is the floor, the walls, and the roof of the building. It's the entire building envelope. It's also the inner wall, the outer wall, the insulation, and the structure of the building. So this is R5 per
I was
inch.
just gonna say, how much of
Yeah,
it-
really good R value. We also created the assembly system of how you put it together. We have 2 patents on this technology, and we have a really great manufacturing process that we look forward to deploying here in the building down the street.
You do this all in-house?
We sure do.
You melt down the plastic?
Nope, so we don't do that. So we don't do the manufacturing part. We do the assembly part. So we essentially buy the, I'm guessing this is a public thing, so we'll get into too much to it, but we buy components and put them together, essentially, and then we came up with how you do that. But this part, the plastic bottle part, that's done by a very large company, and then they do all the recycling. They take it from the bottle to the foam, and then we take it from there.
So the product here would be shipped in, manufactured, shipped out.
We take raw materials, assemble it, and then ship out a finished product.
Kind of finish or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you send them out in kit form, or do you send the buildings out?
So we're going to be doing both. So in a kit form, we're working with a company down the street, which you probably know, Shelter Institute. Making their sit panels, making sit panels for them for kit homes, but then also just selling this as a straight up building material. There are other companies, large companies here in Maine, who are going to use this in 4x8 sheets as components in their system. So just selling it just like you would plywood and stuff like that. This is just a modern version of plywood.
So is Shelter using this stuff now?
We're developing some products now that are not available yet, but they will be this year.
Okay.
And again, this is the walls and the roof. It's a whole thing. So it's a replacement for the OSB.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
This performs a lot better.
Yeah.
So, anywho, and I'm happy to answer product questions, but just to give you an idea of who we are and what we're doing, we're a small team, we're still under 20 people, but we look forward to expanding here. We started off, I actually started off in boat yards. Went from boat yards to working with Tiny Homes of Maine up in Holton, and then I was in 100,000 square feet in limestone, way up in the county, getting this rolling over the last 5 years. And unfortunately up there they had the space, but they didn't have the labor. And so I came back home and we built our own team out of my grandfather's old workshop in Nobleboro. He started a business here in the Mid-Coast called Hatch Will Jewelers. His name is Adam Peck. So yeah, started in the family farm, and we've far grown out of that. We're looking forward to expanding here in Woolwich. And we've purchased equipment. We've got equipment on the way to manufacture this and disrupt the building industry right here from Woolwich. So
Can I ask you real quick about this property?
Yeah, sure.
So it was owned by Tucker and then leased to Carvana, right?
it's still a better.
And is it leased to Carvana? Do they have a long-term lease? Are you subleasing or are you?
No,
purchase?
that lease has been closed, and
Yeah.
we've leased directly to Tucker.
Okay, you've already set that up? Or this is what
Is
it
that
is?
new house sold?
Yeah, so it's Tucker, right?
Yep.
So you'd be
Happily
looking to lease the property?
So we already have. So
You already have, okay.
Yeah, we have a lease in place, and I was at the last planning board meeting,
Yes,
and
okay.
we've already went through that. Fire inspector's been there.
You're going through site plan review right now, right?
Nope, they actually, there won't be site plan review, they voted to not do that. So they gave us two stipulations to work with the, basically to go from the fire chief, which we've done, and then with the park group.
The industrial park.
Industrial park,
They have
yep.
an architectural committee or something.
Yep, exactly. So we've done both of those things, and now I think we pay a fee
For the site plan, yeah, can you tell your
how much
comments?
they voted on that, what that amount is as well. And I believe that's it.
Did they tell you the fee?
They did $500. Yep.
You're not expanding the building or anything?
Nope.
Just curious. How-
Yeah,
I didn't know, you know.
Not expanding the building, and we're essentially using it like, instead of cars, we're just doing with buildings, but it's service, it's.
We've seen some activity, so that's why I was curious.
Yep, yeah, and then we'll be using the front yard just like they did before, show models, that sort of stuff. Little customer traffic coming in and seeing models buy off the lot, just like a car dealership.
Okay. Well, the reason I asked without being blunt is,
Yeah,
you're going forward, and does it hinge upon this, or are you going forward no matter what?
we're going forward no matter what.
I just was trying to understand.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So what this is, just thanks for enlightening me and letting me just kind of fill you in, introduce ourselves. So what this is, when we started in Nobleboro, we were able to raise a seed round of funding, and a chunk of that was this community development block grant. So that got our production up and running, and the team established, and some tools, and that sort of thing. We're going to maintain the space in Nobleboro, and what this space is it's an extension. We're actually expanding, we're not relocating. So Nobleboro is still going to operate building, some of the small buildings, and what it's going to really hone into is more of our joinery, interior shop, that sort of thing, as we get into residential housing. So it's going to be more specific work, carpentry work, and that sort of thing there. And over here will be more of the assembly in larger space. So with that, because we are expanding to both locations, and we're going to open up hiring, we already have a team in place in Nobleboro, we're going to open up hiring here. We expect to bring on at least 10 jobs in the next 9 months, 12 months, right here in Woolwich. It's a fit to expand our already community development block grant for this additional $100,000, which will fund a lot of the tools and CapEx type expenditures to bring on those new employees. The jobs that we're going to be hiring for is we're immediately hiring some office help, as well as production techs to work in the assembly piece, and then also some operators to operate the equipment, laminating equipment for the assembly piece as well.
So you're looking for 100,000 out of this million? What did you say?
Yeah, so we qualified for a $100,000 extension to the grant that we already have. Like I said, we've got the initial $250,000, which we received in 2020. And we're getting 2019, 2020, we're getting Nobleboro up and running now because we're expanding. We're basically able to, we're qualified to extend for this additional $100,000 through the block grant. And we went through, we did the same thing with the town leadership there in Nobleboro. It was their first time in the community development block grant as well. We had, at the time, we had 3 people on the team, and we had, for that $250,000, it's an additional person for $30,000 in grant rewarded. We were able to do that, and then some, like I said, we've expanded the team to almost 20 now, so we far exceeded kind of the goal of the program.
So what's the town's role in
The town's role is essentially, and Kim, you spoke a little bit to Mary, I think probably Mary a little bit, we're early on in the process here, and like I said, I'm not the professional
this? But I'm
administrator.
just thinking that if it's an extension of the program in Nobleboro, what do we do now?
Because we're focused on jobs in Woolwich, the town would be the facilitator and the administrator alongside us. We would do all the legwork of the letter of intent and that sort of stuff, the writing. And then the town is really kind of the facilitator of the funds from the state. Or in
Without
the
nailing-
HUD funds.
Without nailing down specifics, what do you talk about for pay rate for an employee to be hired, say, production employees?
Our production folks, depending on their experience, start at about $18 an hour, and then go depending on what they're doing. Like I said, the more of the office administration folks are different pay rate there, and then of course we are looking for some more kind of higher levels skilled over there, particularly in the systems operating and laminating, that sort of stuff. That's a higher skill level position there. But just to start, we are do folks that do, material handling and light carpentry and that sort of stuff. So which is what this community development block grant is mostly aimed for, is the lower to medium income jobs.
What is the deadline to apply?
We're trying to get the LOI in July for there's no deadline, but they do have a limited pot of funds, and so we're trying to stay on schedule so we can get that letter of intent in July to get considered for the August round of investment.
So, yeah. Well, I was reading here that, towns and businesses work together to submit the letter of intent and complete the application. I guess I'm just curious to, obviously it appears it's public money, so but I just wondered how involved it was for the town. I think that's what we're all alluding to, like, what do we have to do?
Yeah, definitely. Well, luckily Mary Ellen has offered to help us because she really was our guide through the first one. She's offered to help us with this because it is an extension of our original program. So between the work that Mary Ellen does and the folks who she works with at the state, and then us, we do a lot of the legwork, writing and stuff. It's a fairly light lift for the town. Everything needs to be submitted to the town. So I think after maybe a follow-up conversation with Mary Ellen, Tim could give you a really objective view of what that.
I'm surprised that the town, not to be disrespectful, but I'm confused what the town, why would, it's government money, if you will.
Yeah.
What role, why does the town have to play a role?
That's my question, what's the overall benefit to the town?
Yeah.
To the town as a whole, what's the overall benefit to the town?
So again, I'm not the community development block grant guy, I'm just a small business, but what I believe the purpose of the program is to bring economic development to the town. So if the town can facilitate, it doesn't cost the town anything other than maybe a little administrative time to help with the filing of the thing.
I'm
Which
sure.
I totally understand that that's a
Another person.
that's a big ask, right?
You have a three-person office.
I totally get it.
Mostly we're two.
So one of the things that, when we apply for grants, it counts or
Yeah.
things that we've acted as the fiscal agent, and so like Kelt or Midway or whatever does all the work,
Yeah.
and
We reap the
we just
benefits.
sign it, right, we just sign it. Is it more than that?
In my experience, my one experience with this a couple of years ago, we did all of the application work and then basically gave it to the folks in the town office in Noblesboro, and they submitted it with Mary's help, and then the town basically is given the funds, and then the town writes the check.
So we have some responsibility though there. It's obviously if the funds went through the town, there's some,
Right.
I'm not
Yeah.
making it difficult, I'm just saying there's something I don't.
But is the town responsible for overseeing?
Yeah, make sure that you do
Yeah,
have.
they
Yeah,
do
the
these
town
things.
is responsible for it. My only involvement with community block grant back in 30-some years ago when I was with one of the department buildings. One of the towns I was in, anyways, yeah, we got, the community I was in, the community block grant, but they administered, they hired somebody to administer, quite a lot of money.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
And they gave all low interest loans, so we took up all that.
Okay.
And like I say, at that time, this community, this particular community, they got a ton of, so they hired somebody professional to come in to make sure that we were.
So I'm not sure that that's the exact, I understand, Rick, I'm not sure that that is the exact same program.
No, it's not.
Right.
It's not.
30 years ago, but-
That's my only experience with a community cooperative. is
Yeah.
that, you know, the town does have the administrating of the money is done by the town. In this case, it was something different.
This one's done pretty widely across Maine and almost every town in Maine to promote small business growth. So that and it's really, it's really, they put a lot of the focus on small businesses. Because we, as a small business, primary beneficiary here. But I think the purpose of the program is to help plant the seed for longer term economic growth. Also helps, us make a decision to move this, to this.
Where you want
So it's,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's HUD money, it's federal money, but DCD is state.
So 2 years ago, you got $250,000 or whatever out of Noble World, through Noble World. So how long did you, I'm just being nosy, but that money spent 1 year, over multiple years? You get it the first day, you get a check, I mean, how does that work?
Well, there's a.
I mean, I know there's I'm just curious, like.
Yeah,
how-
so the process is which, during the application, we would submit basically a sources and uses budget.
Yeah.
And then the money is spent against that budget over, I forget what the period of time was, it's probably a year, that sort of thing. And so then, we submit expenses towards the budget, and that's how it's reconciled.
And the town disperses the funds? No, I mean, the town basically sent,
Yep, I
comes
think,
to the town to you, right?
yeah, I think it was, I
You write
think we
one
did
check.
that in,
What's that?
We write one
No, we
check.
don't write one check, right? That's what I'm trying to say, we don't write one check, right?
I think we did that in 2, maybe 3 checks.
No,
So it's not the whole deal is to make it as simple as possible. So.
That's what I was trying to understand.
Yeah, unlike other grants, like we work with Maine Technology Institute, we have a current grant with them, in which we go out and spend the money, and then we
Reimburse.
submit all the stuff, and they reimburse. It's not that.
Okay.
This is more ahead of that.
Okay, the reason I ask is how long is, so let's say that everybody did this and got involved, how long is the town all going to deal with this? Is it all done within a year, is it all done within 6
Well, for
months?
this amount of money, it'll likely be 1 check. And then this will probably be done within 90 days of it happening.
And then we're done.
I don't
I'm just
know.
I think the best thing is to bring in somebody.
Have Mary Ellen-
from the-
That's what I'm saying, I'm just here tonight to introduce myself and then present that, which was written by Mary Ellen, not by me. So they really can go into the deep dive of what the, and I'd be happy to, if you don't already know the folks over at Noblesboro and the selectmen over there, they could give a great testimonial on their experience.
That's
Because it
not
was,
bad.
No, that's,
I think we're the first and only community development block grant ever in Noblesboro.
yeah.
But
Well,
that,
you'd be the first one.
Yeah, I'll be first. So we don't meet again until the 19th, right? And we have a town meeting that night, and we could meet at 5 o'clock, no? I mean, the way we meet basically twice a month, but it's first and third.
okay, yeah.
So we basically would not meet again, right, until the 19th. And then could you and this, Mary Ellen, or somebody
Mind
come?
if I check what that?
Oh, yeah.
Does that give you,
I'll bring it to you.
Not, zero, what town action, we have authority, or we need authority.
How rigid is this stuff?
Must be fairly rigid.
I run a company where I have a bunch of small barges.
So is
I
there
use
any-
that for decking on my barges?
Yeah.
Was there any framing? Is it, oh, what?
What do you call that?
We call it Adura, E-D-U-R-A. It's the Adura building system.
So typically with like when you work with shelter, the SIPS panels have, of course, timber framing, right?
Yeah.
So is your product, does it require any framing?
No, you can use it standalone.
So you can build a 10 by 10 building
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
nothing?
So if you go up by the building now, we've already brought a couple of our our little buildings
Yeah,
over there.
yeah,
So
I saw it,
little
yeah.
80 square foot buildings, those are entirely made out of that 3/4 inch panel.
Really?
That is the stud and that is the whole deal. Hello, how are you?
You likened this to plywood, 3/4 inch plywood. Is it as strong as 3/4 inch plywood?
Yes, not quite as good screw retention, but close to that as well.
Wonder if drop a chain on it or something.
So one more time, what are we looking at here when we see this? I don't mean to be dumb, but is this what you consider the floor? No, what am I looking at when I look at this model?
Yeah, so that right there, I took that off our actual demonstration thing. That could either be the floor or the roof. But that same thing could also be the wall.
And that's how, and walls recess in like this?
So your walls are 4 inches thick.
Yeah, and the roof can be up to 10 inches thick.
And it just glues together? This is just glued to that?
Yeah, we have a proprietary system of how we assemble everything if you're using it as the structure, but then also, like for instance, the people at shelter are just using it more like a traditional set. Well, they'll fasten that onto a timber frame.
Right.
Yeah, because you can use it for
And
sheeting
then
or
when she
cladding.
Yeah, what do they do with the, is there another product you have, or is that it? What I mean is,
Well, the sibs, they,
Right.
you know, often will put the sheet rock on this side and,
Yeah,
OSB on.
so we're actually, the week of the 17th, by the end of the week of the 17th, we should have our Class A fire rating for just that. So there's no drywall.
but what would you do with this, like paint it, or, I mean, would that be
Yeah.
that would be the exposed interior surface?
And exterior.
And the exterior does not need siding?
Nope.
Nothing, so that would be the benefit. I'm trying to figure out what the benefit.
Yeah, so we're 90% faster than stick-built construction.
I see.
Yeah.
And so this is paintable,
Yeah,
and I see.
and it never rots, it never rusts.
So what do you do with seams, though? Like, what do you do with, I mean, I'm kind of different.
Right.
What do you do with all the
Well, and I was
seams?
also thinking like put a hole in it to put a picture in it, and use backlit when you're the picture.
You wonder how you fasten to it, right?
Yeah, or, you know, fixed hole, dings and holes
Yeah.
and whatnot.
So we have several different adhesives, and we have our own tape
Okay.
for seams and that sort of thing. One of my partners is the gentleman who invented a product called Flex Seal, Flex Tape.
I am very familiar with that.
Yeah, so we've developed our own set of kind of like accessories that go with it. Yeah, but once we get up and running, love to
I just don't know.
have you down and show you the whole thing.
That's what it's
I can drop a rock on a 3/4 inch plywood.
I don't know, somebody's done something.
That's neat.
So would that work out on the 19th?
That's great. Works for me. We'll make sure we'll either have Mary Ellen, or if she's not available for some reason, she's on vacation this week, we will work on seeing someone directly from the DECD could come along. And then, of course, if we can send you any more information into that, kind of what the goal is we're looking for the next step for our walk around approach. The next step is to make sure that you all have enough information to answer any questions you have on the program itself. The milestone there is to for you all to agree to let us create an LOI to submit for the application. So the letter of intent is the first piece that we submit together. We'll write it, and then you'll take a look at it, approve it, we'll write it with Mary Ellen, and then we'll submit that to the DECD. That's really kind of the first step.
And you're trying to do that by when? August 1st or August 15th?
Well, I'd love to do that, yeah, by the end of this month for consideration. And get you all the information you need prior to the 19th, so we can answer any questions and you all can have all the education you need.
So I take it,
The only tenant in that building is that the whole village?
Yeah.
so I take it that Saginaw County does not do something similar, because that's, we're actually in Saginaw.
Saginaw County?
Yeah, that was confusing to me too.
Yeah.
They talk about-
They're, I mean, they're also giving.
It doesn't matter, you know, we're a different county, but it doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I know her.
I'm sure
Yeah.
if Mary Ellen, well, she'll bring in someone from Saginaw, because she's from, she's from Lincoln County.
Lincoln County, yeah, that's right.
I mean, I don't, yeah,
When you
it
said,
doesn't, we
the-
don't need to.
no, but when you said the extension, I don't know how this works
Yeah.
either.
But they did work with the they were real active in that whole sort of through town broadband
Oh,
Yeah, the DECG just works with people more regionally and locally, like Mary Ellen, to help
Yeah.
with these Q&A things. So it's a DECG run program.
Okay.
We can see if some of those folks will go, but I think as he gets more into the individual towns, they work with people like Mary Ellen. I'm not sure who her counterpart is in South.
And they might not have run something like that.
Yeah, because she's kind of just the educator in these things. She offered help because we built a nice relationship and it worked out in Noblesboro, so she wants to see us keep going. And if there was a building in Noblesboro that was available like this one, we would have stayed there, but they were.
so I guess you know what we don't know. And we'll keep this till you come back.
Just, wondering how durable.
How thin do you make that?
Right now, just down to ½ inch, but we can go to ¼ inch and maybe even thinner
For specific applications.
for specific applications, yeah.
Wow. So what's the thinnest it can stand on its own for, well, of course it all depends, right? I mean,
Yeah, well, our ¾ inch, which is that,
Yeah.
has built buildings all over the country, and, ski resorts, snow load, all that sort of stuff, travels on the road.
as sheathing, used as sheathing, you mean?
The whole building, so it's the floor, the walls, the roof. It's
But
the
it's,
whole-
but it's attached to framing?
Nope, it's the
No.
whole building.
So
That is the
Oh,
frame,
oh,
yeah.
I don't understand how it can,
Me either.
so they're 4x8 sheets?
No, we could make them much
Okay,
larger.
because I say, how do they attach and have strength? I mean,
Yeah, so in sandwich construction, which is what that is, it's like a boat hull, right? And where it gets the strength from is the advanced composite skins, right? It has fiberglass in it.
yeah,
And it gives it shear strength and rigidity and the whole deal. So it's basically an I-beam. You know how an I-beam works? Like that? That wall is an I-beam. So when you attach it, both with adhesives, chemically and mechanically, you're just attaching one I-beam to another I-beam. And that's, kind of simply how it works. And we've been doing it for a long, long time in the marine world. In the construction world, it's a little bit new, but it's very proven.
Can you use it for sheathing? Can you, let's say you got a conventionally framed building?
Yeah.
Could you sheath it with this?
One of our
Just
target-
go into it?
Yeah, exactly. One of our target markets is to compete with zip systems and van tack and that sort of stuff. So that's why, partially why we developed our own tape, is to, spit out 4x8 sheets of this with the tape and we can use it. The big advantage there is with zip, you're screwing into OSB still, right? You're screwing into wood. And even when you break that waterproof barrier, there's a bunch of issues there. So you don't have that because this is closed cell foam. You won't have a rot or rust or anything like that. It's also a lot lighter to deal with, on the job site, which is kind of nice for the people that are installing machinery.
Can you make it in any thickness? I mean, can you make it an inch thick or?
We sure can. Yep. Yeah, our laminating process right here in Woolwich will be able to accommodate really up to about 10 inches thick for roofing. And again, the roofing, one of the benefits is that our roof system is painted. Go to Sherwin-Williams, get a couple of gallons of paint, that's a roof. So there's no.
put it up, paint it.
Put it up, paint it, or paint it and put it up.
Yeah,
Paint it
right,
on the ground.
yeah,
So there's no metal roofing, there's no shingles. So as far as longevity and simplicity, and for the contractor who builds 10 houses a year with this system, they can build 50.
I was just thinking about the green a lot lighter than fiber. This don't help you.
Yeah, for
all those white.
bulkheads and decking and all that sort of stuff, it's great.
So,
Curious question.
Tom's
Tom,
on.
you had a question?
Curious question. You probably answered it already, but weatherability, so if you're using it for decking or exterior uses, I'm thinking in terms of weatherability relative to any shedding of the plastic material. Has that been verified how to avoid that? In other words, I'm thinking of all the plastics in say the flotations that's used for floats, and decks, and docks.
Yeah, well, a lot of that, as far as I know, a lot of that issue is, because those floats break apart. It's styrofoam that gets out, and you've got microplastic issues, right? So this will be totally encapsulated. One, you don't have to say, it's not styrofoam, it's not sure as much. Part of your style, you'll break apart. And so I'm actually wondering if there's oil services on that same application right now. Yeah, we chatted for a bit last time, Ben, I'd love to get it sort of one-on-one time, and you've got some interesting perspectives, I'd love to get to know you.
Very good.
Please, yeah, please, sorry, let's see your contact, I'll give you a buzz.
That's okay. All right, so you're up and coming, you're moving in, you're going to work?
Sure, yeah.
All right. All right, hope you get to see Kim sometime.
Yes, I know that you said that you want to get the letter of intent and all the other information before the 19th. I am out of the office all week next week, so.
We don't need the letter.
No, we're not gonna do that
No,
after.
but you wanted to get some information prior to the next meeting.
What I'd like to do is if we can, we'll send more information once Mary gets back and get some more information from the DECD, so you guys can have all the information, connect you with the folks in Noblesboro. That sounds helpful, as testimonial there. And then what we may go ahead and do is we may draft a letter of intent to also have as part of that agenda. And so if you have all the contacts, we have the people here to ask any questions. We have, you folks can talk with people in Noblesboro, and then we have a draft letter of intent. Love to maybe make our milestone or a goal for that meeting to approve that letter of intent. And again, that's just to get us in, as I understand it, that's just to get us into the application process. So if that is okay with you all, we'll do that legwork.
So who checks your email when you're gone? Because I assume you would send it to you.
I have an automatic reply, so it'll go to Oakport campus.
Okay.
So you'll get
Because
it.
she won't be in the office to respond to all of that.
Sure.
so.
But the following week, when we prior to the Wednesday, are you in?
I will be in Monday.
Okay, so literally 2 weeks. No, but a week from Monday.
But I'm in a golf tournament.
Oh,
Yeah.
So theoretically, a week from Monday, which is the 17th,
Yes,
you will be.
I will be.
So that still gives us 48 hours. There's really nothing we're going to add to it. We just need to understand it.
Exactly.
I think. And then I think we have authority, right? We have authority to apply for, it's the same as like,
any kind of grant.
yeah.
So I guess that's in the matching funds. They're just,
Yeah, give us a couple days to just maybe reach out to this other, to Noblesboro, and just say, how much work is this, or what do we do? Or what's involved, right? We all agree on this.
Perfect.
All right.
Excellent. Nice to meet you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Don't forget to see Kim sometime. You have to make payment for that site plan review.
Oh, yes. You should see it here.
Oh, we said.
Oh, did you?
We know these things sometimes
Okay.
the reason we say that is when they tell us, right? We don't know
Right.
sometimes what's happening. Right? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I'll give you a buzz tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, well, immediately following, right?
What is that? I see it.
You start.
Okay.
Sorry.
I know.
Yep.
I know, that's why I
Nice to see you
did.
again.
Let me
get out of here.
Am I the only one that hasn't signed the card downstairs?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I thought we were gonna bring it to you.
Let me grab the whole.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Well, there's nothing in the signature folder.
Oh, okay.
Just
so let me
grab
remove
the,
cards.
yeah. That'll work.
How long you been here?
That'll work.
Actually,
Was he here?
77 years is really the right answer.
Here.
Oh, you meant Woolwich or the building?
Oh, did you want to look at that? That's the purchase and sale agreement from Kristen.
Yeah. What did you think? I worked
I
on it.
scanned it. I didn't.
Well, Saturday
I've been
morning,
so busy.
there was a few mistakes that we went back and forth, like the
On
county.
that?
Well, the county and the parcel.
Oh, I just scanned it. I did not
Okay.
read it thoroughly,
Did
so.
did it match your warrant? Do you have a draft warrant
Yeah, it's in,
in this folder?
Yes,
Did the property map and lot make sense?
yes.
That's all she's really was
It
in.
matched.
Okay, she was invited to
We gotta come up with 10 grand beforehand. 10 grand.
Yeah,
This money,
feels like it
else
was-
are non-interest bearing.
Yeah, but remember, we don't do any of this until after the town meeting.
Yes.
So all,
We tweak that.
yeah, she put together a, we can do what we want, like, as far as like, we haven't gone anywhere with it, but she just sent it over, said to make the article similar to the forward thing, and that was the first step. I did,
And we survey of and dated.
yeah, I have some of that, but the only thing is, I don't know, like, I don't even know if that survey got done. Remember, it was a draft, I don't even know where it's at.
It says to be recorded.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause I don't know, and they didn't, with full disclosure, they didn't do a boundary survey of his property. So,
Well, they did two sides.
they did 2 lines, but what I mean is, I don't know where it's all fill in.
We're not really worried about it.
All right, Sean's on his way back from that.
Did they take it, this must be, I mean, hopefully.
I can tell you who's this, I can tell you who's
It'll make
this.
matters. I bet this is this one. That's what I'm.
You know, who's this?
I know by signature, I know which one, which one's division. Yeah, I just.
So this one is.
So what-
All right, okay.
Okay.
So when are we going to try to sell the RVs on?
I would say at least,
Immediately.
I would say just wait for us to sell the article and then immediately put it online. We have town meeting approval to sell anything we deem no longer necessary.
Yeah, that's a pretty big unnecessary.
No, what are you saying?
You really think that's what the people thought we were talking about?
I think we should offer that to them what we pay for it if they want that.
So wait, what are you saying? What do you think we need town meeting approval on?
Yeah.
I don't think we need town meeting.
If you want, what I can do is I can go see them. And tell them, you know, that I'm not trying to never be able to do that. You probably use, put that phone number, you know, exactly what we did.
Right, but I think what he's saying is, do we need town meeting authority to sell it? We don't need
I
that.
don't think we do.
No, I agree that they give us authority at every town meeting, but I don't think the people of the town of Woolwich were thinking about that large piece of land.
We just sold a house for $86,000 a couple years ago. We didn't want
That's
that.
right, too.
I think the only thing is, they knew, when they approved it at the town meeting, they knew what the intent was to buy it, and we're not going to use it for that.
Right.
So I think that we're actually doing our due diligence on disposing of the property. I mean, they wouldn't want us to do
We
it.
should dispose of it, money, and divide it in surplus. But we should at least contact them.
The neighbor. Well,
They would give you a sort
Right.
of,
Meeting or-
So this is, I think I'm the only one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are we starting?
What did we?
yeah, I don't think Chris is going to be this. I think-
No, but you have a statement from him.
Oh, here, and
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. We're going to start tonight's meeting with a moment of silence for Lloyd Coombs, who is a former selectman, former town administrator of this town, and is quite often known as Mr. Lloyd. Okay. Moving on from that, approval of the minutes of the previous meeting would be in order.
So I move they be approved as written.
Second.
Any corrections, deletions, or additions? Seeing none, those in favor? Thank you. Selectmen's comments. Allison?
Just something real quick, Jason and I have both had local ministers reach out to us individually about just ways that they want to help people in town and contribute to the community, so, you know, I'm going to meet with them next month.
Yeah, wondering if anybody else has noticed the campers over on Route 1, and what's happening with them. Is that a new one, or is it one they dragged out of the?
I think they dragged it out of the woods, the white one.
Where are we
Yeah.
talking?
Yeah,
Across from the Mount Road.
right. I've had several people ask me about those, and I don't believe that white one was put in there. I think they dragged it up out of the woods. It looks like it's been there for a while.
I thought they dragged it up near the road, and the property's for sale, but do you know that? You saw how it's close to the road, but there had been one down over the bank.
Right,
I have
so they're cleaning up the property.
I think they cleaned up the septic.
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing. I don't think, I
In
don't,
that.
There's two? Okay.
Last conversation I had with anybody was about putting a driveway.
well, if I remember correctly, the people that bought it a few years ago, they moved to Camp Rolando, and they hauled that old one out at the time. I think this white one is the one that they moved on years ago and then never used.
Yeah, it just became more obvious.
Yeah.
That's all, I was wondering what was up.
I mean, if you've ever been down in there, it's a lovely piece of property.
Yeah.
It's just the egress to it is horrible. You know, you've got to come up that steep hill and out on Route 1.
All I had was a phone call that time about the driveway, and they asked what I had thought about, looking at the driveway, and I suggested they keep it down, give sight view from coming from back, and then I was told it was none of our business. There's nothing to do with the town, nothing to do with period, it's all state. So,
I don't think they can move down too far, can they? Because there's one swing going land on that side of the road too.
Well, if you recall, we got hired that time to put in what's there. And they had a limited state entrance for those, remember 20 years ago? So I don't know either.
And we have right of way down there. That's how we get to our
The
cemetery.
Gould Cemetery, yeah.
There was, at one time, there was a road that came through what is now Shelter Institute and crossed the railroad tracks down there. There was a bridge across the stream and all that. It was Todd and I, when Todd was cleaning up the cemetery down there, I went down a couple of days to help him. We walked the railroad tracks and we could find an old road on that side of the railroad tracks, but then there was no evidence on this side where it ever crossed the stream or anything like that. And I don't, I spent some time looking down in the vault here, and there's no mention of it at all. It's obviously long lost.
one of the earlier stages, it was mentioned DLT was gonna buy it, so it couldn't be used as a law. I did not want to drive with it.
I don't know. Like I say, it's a nice little piece of land when you're down in there, but it's,
Yeah.
getting in and out, you can take your life in your hands, get in and out.
So what do we have to do to make sure that our access to the cemetery is maintained?
Can't be waiting.
Well, I think it's already there, Debbie.
Is it in the deed?
Well, I think it's just a right of way. It doesn't,
It's the right of way.
Is the right of way the deed?
you gotta remember, right of way doesn't,
Right,
by foot or by tree or by.
Right, right.
I mean, it's improved from 30 years ago, it's improved from what it was, but I don't know.
I don't know if John Kennedy is still going in and out on a regular basis.
Yeah,
Occasionally he does.
Does he? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent.
so we can, look at something.
We don't want to lose that.
Always access it by canoe. You can always access it by canoe at high tide.
Only at high tide.
Well, yeah.
Anything else there?
No, that's it.
Jason?
I guess all I want to say was David finished the second float, so the floats are in at
That's
the
great.
park and they look great. And also Tommy made a sign that says swimming area, I think, and David installed it a couple nights ago.
Looks great. He's done the pictures.
Yeah, it's nice, yeah, very good.
Very short and sweet, very much to the point. It's a swimming area.
Yeah. And all I did was, there are, no, nothing to do with that, David. There are a few signs up that I think say surveillance, you're on camera. So hopefully we're not much trouble.
On that note, I would like, when we pull the boats this fall, I'd like to buy 2 more pontoons that are out of float. I'm just not happy with the way it floats. I built it according to what the plans call for, and I'm just not happy with the way it floats. So I'd like to put
Too tippy?
boats out here.
or?
No, it's just if you get a bunch of people standing on the end goes down level with the water.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't sink, but it goes down level with the water. I think if we put 2 more floats in the middle of it, it wouldn't do that. The
Yeah.
first one doesn't need that because it's attached to the dock on one end,
Yeah.
the fixed dock on one end, and then on the other end, it has the floats from the first dock and the second dock right close, right side by each, so there's a lot more flotation.
Can we just pull them up right there on the ground?
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We saved 4 planks. We had several planks left over from what the initial auto was, and we saved 4 of them that we're gonna use to drag them out
Okay.
in the fall, and I bought the rest of what was left over from the town. And used it for projects I had going.
Okay.
I have no comment, other than go back just for a second and speak just a second about Lloyd. Lloyd Coombs passed away recently, and he was our town administrator for a lot of years. I always give Lloyd credit. Whenever I needed to have a letter written, I'd give him an outline, like a outline for a book report, and Lloyd would make me sound a lot more intelligent than I was. So I always appreciated Lloyd's writing skills.
I know they're putting together the obituary. I got an email from Ben about looking for some information about the town. I told him to call here. He needed one.
Public comments. Now's the time to talk to us about anything that's not on the agenda. If it's on the agenda, please wait for it to come up. Anybody? Tom?
You might check with Lori, Ken Vining's wife. There's a couple floats there, there's plastic floats that he has in his yard there.
Oh, to utilize them.
Oh, okay.
Utilize for the floats you're talking
Yeah,
about.
these are 2 foot by 4 foot tubs. I had some blue styrofoam that I put on the float too, and that did help some, but
Now, these are poly, but they're bigger than that, so
these poly tubs are really good.
these are poly, and they may be too large for that.
Okay.
Just a thought. But I have a couple other things too.
Okay?
Since this issue has died down a little bit, it's probably out of sight, out of mind. But I thought I would just update you on a request I had made in early 2020 regarding CDC data. That data is still not available. Generally, in the country, even to those pressing the issue with significant credentials way beyond mine. So I don't feel so bad in a sense, but FOIA requests that those people have made have been stonewalled and denied, even for their leverage they can't get. So I find the lack of representation and the shallow statement that I got to just seek a FOIA request to be rather disappointing as far as representation of the general public. My suggestion is complicity with deceiving the general public is a big deal. So hopefully there's a better understanding that's been being developed maybe by people that are looking at some information that's available now. Because various sources around the world are showing evidence of the virus and the injection deceit that has taken place in the last 3 years. So to be complicit with that, I'd be concerned about it. So just a note that it's a big issue and it will probably be coming due at some point. So hopefully there's a reconsideration of where that data lies and the fact that it's not available to the general public. Something being hidden. And what's being hidden has been proven around the world to not be a good deal to the general public. So hopefully there's a better understanding that's addressed by our representatives, locally, statewide, and nationally. So just an update on where that stands. Information is still not available.
saving people.
I think if we didn't have any of the damage that we had up in Franklin,
Nothing, nothing,
That's,
minor, very minor. In pretty good shape. Yeah, they took a real beating up there, it took me a long time to get there.
yeah, it's really, I feel like the day.
It's always horrible, some people can't get out.
you see the one with the summer camp there, they were actually handing out life jackets.
Is that the one in Range, the one in Rangeley? Yeah.
Common there, somewhere in there, yeah.
Up in Jack.
Yeah.
Up in Jack. They actually moved cabins off their foundations and everything else.
I mean, what they said.
So, but no, I have nothing else now, we're going to run forward in a couple of weeks. We're excited. The dad coming over the landfill, kind of going to dry a little bit. So I don't know anything else. Peter Jay, no complaints from the public, young lady?
Nope, not at all.
No ongoing issue with the,
We did have
East Hedge Road.
We did have one complaint.
well,
Well, I was just gonna
East Hedge.
say that I want to thank your company for taking care of the culvert,
Yeah. I heard you
clogging
said
so
that.
quickly.
I heard you stood up over the situation, I don't know how true it is. You're getting pretty tired now.
But it was resolved
Yeah, you
very,
did throw that together.
very quickly.
What was it, Beaver?
well, it was, yeah, I mean, it was a blockage, I mean, the water gets, 18 feet.
Wasn't man-made.
Well,
I
can't
will
rule
leave that
anything-
to
can't rule
Jason's
anything-
judgment.
Can't rule anything out, but the latest is, and you all know from last night's communication, that, so when you unblock a culvert, this is a big pipe, I can't go 3 foot or 4 foot, I should know, but anyway, obviously the water rolls through it, and there's a property pin over there, and you know the rest of the story. I was called out on Facebook this morning by the individual, and I did not respond, and it's wanting me to let her know when we would be going up to remove the debris over the property pin, but I have nothing to do with that side of the road, and I didn't do anything, and it's, so, just so the board, I don't know where it's
Well, at
going.
least there's not 3 feet of water on the road, I really appreciate it.
Well, yeah,
We're not gonna, from my point of view, we aren't going on private property.
no.
We haven't done that so far, and we're not gonna do it again.
Right, well, things that go through the culvert, go through the culvert, I mean, it's gonna have some weeds and whatever, so anyway.
Besides, what goes through the culvert, maybe we don't know how we're.
Well,
And
that's
not
it.
only was it
I was up
quickly,
there Saturday, and I didn't see any.
I haven't known of any trouble there, and a few scoops of tobacco, and obviously got a picture taken, and waiting for the water to go down, and,
well, the other
you
thing.
thought it was a thank you, but it turned out to be a little bit of criticism.
And not only was it handled quickly, but it was on the 4th of July.
Yeah, but next time I'd like to have Allison come and join.
Yeah, she said that to me first and I ignored it.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm sure she'll reach out to Allison. I figured she would. I
mean,
wasn't
I
gonna
would
bother
love to.
anybody.
I would.
Since it was a holiday, it wasn't looking like, it was a treacherous situation
Well, no, and
whatsoever.
don't get us wrong, we always wrong, I mean,
Right.
anything trouble the road.
Yeah.
And it was the right thing to do, but I just didn't understand the follow-up on it.
I didn't either.
Anyway,
Thank you.
stay tuned.
I got one thing for Jack. I've had 2 firefighters ask me when you do the mowing on Shops Crossroad by Elizabeth Ann Lane, if you can get into the wood line, they're having a hard time pulling the engine out and seeing past the side of the road. I don't know if that's anything you can do or not, but
Well, if it's grass, then yeah, I mean, there's something we can do with the mower.
it might be some branches or something, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we
but,
look at it, yeah.
Then, it's just a safety thing, 'cause it's right on that corner there, and you know where it is, so.
I could suggest to the chief that might be a good chance to have some training on chainsaw.
Yeah. Yeah.
Codes officer, I believe I have a written report this on this.
If it's an email, she might.
It's this one in my hand that says it's from personnel council. Just an update for the select board after conversations with Cameron Dupor and Jeff Callens from the DEP. Walt and I will be meeting with the owners and landscaping of Bailey Bluff to discuss the ongoing replanting plan. New growth has happened since the original cutting and may be taken into account when considering the trees needing to be replanted. Ultimately, I'll lean heavily on Walt and his comfort level regarding any changes to the original replanting plan. Tentatively, the meeting will take place on Monday at 9 a.m., but subject to everyone's availability. To date, in 2023, sufficient issued 51 subsurface or internal plumbing permits and 56 building permits, which includes building, sign, blasting, etc.
That's since January? Since January?
That's from, yes,
Okay.
to date in 2023.
Okay.
Yeah, that's from January. EMS director's report and fire report. We'll take those together.
11 calls, I'll do EMS first. 11 calls, 7 of them to Mitros, 2 transports to Miles, 2 no transports. MC1 was called 4 times, and we went mutually to Dresden 1 time. Julie has to meet with Stryker on the 11th of this month to deal with a warranty issue with the charging on one of the Lucas devices. The new one that we have is not charging appropriately, so we're having to rotate it out. So that should be taken care of. Our Went to Work, which is our scheduling program, runs out the end of this month. We need credit card to pay that. How do you guys want to do that?
At the end of July.
Yeah, end of this month, yeah. And that's all I got. Rescue 2 is going for all change out next week. Other than that. That's all I got for EMS. Maybe fire now?
Yep.
8 calls since the last meeting for fire. Nothing really significant. We had 1 training last month. It was taken quite well, hands-on stuff. We're going to take off July and August from training officially, just so they can go enjoy the summer. We'll still be meeting for our regular truck check night. Engine 2 is all fixed. I should have mentioned, I've got two people that are going to the EMT class starting this week. Gas it. So they'll be hopefully licensed in about 3 months. That'll be good. That's all I got.
King, under old business, do you have anything?
Yeah.
Moving down to EMS discussion, we were going to work on policy. Do you guys want to wait to do that at the very end?
Well,
Can you hang around to the end of the meeting and we'll just brainstorm that a little and we'll work up something for
yeah,
this one?
right, because it's obviously for going forward, right?
Approval of the town meeting warrant for the special town meeting of July 19th.
We didn't have any old business. No. Okay.
Basically, just to purchase the lot across the street. So we motion to approve this. My one question before we approve it, where are we going to do this? Should we do it in the church across the street?
I think you do it right here.
You don't think it
Or do you think, I don't think it
Well, I need to change that, because I put it for 5, but we're meeting with the off-box people on 5, so I just need to...
Well, no.
But I don't
No,
think it's going to be a huge
Do what
crowd.
Well, do what you want. If you want it at 5 o'clock, we'll just have at 4 o'clock.
No, that's fine, because it's only going to take a minute. I don't think there's going to be a big discussion on it.
Yeah, I don't, David, I don't
think we should do this earlier in the day. in case
Do it at 6 o'clock?
Yeah.
I would think that we do this at 6 o'clock.
Okay, I just said,
So,
oh,
if you want me to just cross that out and initial it, make it 6 o'clock?
Well, that suffices for the warrant. And Mike Field is moderating?
Yep, Mike, you guys might feel moderate, yep.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
All right, Phil, I can just cross it out, run in 6 o'clock in the afternoon. But you think we'd be comfortable doing it right here in the room?
Well, I do,
Well,
I guess
if
if
a huge crowd shows up, we could always move across the street.
we had to, we got room for 40 or 50 people, but, Tom?
Just a curious question. When the announcement was made for the warrant to be reviewed tonight, is there any reason to show what that warrant's about, rather than just the fact that it'll be a warrant? I mean, it'll be...
So warrant to buy a piece of property across the street,
Yeah, but it-
$80,000. You can read it if you'd like.
Well, but it wasn't presented in...
It wasn't, it doesn't say on the agenda
On
what
the agenda,
what this
yeah.
special town meeting
Agenda
is
didn't
for.
say anything about what the warrant was.
Oh.
Why don't you read it?
Tonight's agenda?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, no, it was, on the email, there wasn't anything about what the topic was.
Why don't you read it? You want to read it?
it's about the Baker property across the street.
Yeah. but
Article 1 is
that
to
was
elect
on
a
the,
moderator.
the-
Article 2 is to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board or its designee to enter a purchase and sale agreement upon accept the deed and complete whatever other documents associated in the purchase of plot of land from Philip and Marilyn Baker, shown on the town's tax map as map U8, lot 17, and appropriate $80,000 from undesignated fund balance for said purchase. That's the entire form.
No, I'm just questioning the email that indicate what. the-
Nope, I did not put it on there. I apologize, Tom.
And.
Well,
It was on the other, we've been talking about it for a couple of meetings now, so,
And what happens is after you vote, it gets posted.
yeah.
So that it gets,
So it will, everybody will know exactly what it's for, what the special town meeting's for, and we'll make sure that it's, it's in, I think the newspaper will cover it.
We had it with the full town meeting story.
That is
Yeah.
in there, I think.
yeah, I've already seen
It
it.
is.
Yeah, it was the lead. What was the acreage?
It's 2.1,
2.1, I think it is.
It doesn't say that though, right?
no,
No.
but we know for a fact it's over 2
Kim,
acres.
It's a
Can
hair
you
over
make sure
2
it's
acres,
posted on the website?
although a lot of it is wetland.
Debbie has to do her posting, right?
Yes, Debbie, do you mind coming tomorrow so you can post the warrant?
Oh, when did you want it done? Tomorrow or
Whenever,
Friday is okay?
anytime, tomorrow or Friday.
I'll do it
Yeah,
Wednesday.
if it's done before, if it's done before Friday night, it's done, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
motion to approve the warrant
So, moved. as amended.
as amended.
Second.
Okay, those in favor? All right. Now comes the biggie. Town office appointments, Kim, Opal, Candace, Chris, Alexa, Kevin, and Paul. You want to do them all at once?
Yes. I
For the appropriate,
would move the town office appointments for those people, for those positions.
I second that.
those in favor? Okay? I'll start signing these and passing them to my right.
Kim, it's only gonna be, it's not gonna get posted at the school.
I'm sorry?
It's not gonna get posted at the school, because it's
Okay.
already there, so you might wanna take that off of the.
Okay. There's no people over there? This is a straight line, there's
So
a line.
Wednesdays, I thought they were there, but
There was somebody there today.
Yeah.
I mean, I can try and see if the door's open, but.
they just stick it on the door.
I would worry, yeah, well, I'll change it. Okay, thank you for reminding me.
These are one, yeah, these are 1 year.
Everything's one year. I know, I just forgot to combine all of our,
Oh,
she realized it on hers, but she didn't realize it.
oh, so they're all separate?
Yes.
I know, right?
All right, double check and see if we missed any was missed anyone. Okay?
Sure, I
She has some that aren't in here, because I know Greg was in here to do his,
I see.
appointment, and it's not on there.
All right. All right. How do you pronounce it? Lakovic?
Yeah, I
All right. Here's what we've got. Stephen Lakovic, Shellfish. Evan Holbrook, Road Committee. James Chadwick Oliver Jr., Road Committee. Bud Coombs, Special Events. Timothy LaRochelle, Shellfish. Daniel Harrington, Chairperson of the Shellfish. Mark Granger, Solid Waste Committee. Rosemary Granger, Solid Waste Committee. Want to take them all at once?
Yeah.
Motion to accept all of these people for their appointment?
Reappoint, they're all reappointments, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
every one of them is reappointed.
Yes.
So yeah, second, I'll second the motion.
Okay, those in favor? All right. I gotta
Who's
get this
on special events, is that Colette?
Yeah. We need stamps.
And they stamp.
Dale and I have special events.
So the date of that.
It's more secure that way.
I think, yeah, it makes it look real.
All right. Next thing, employee evaluations timeframe. When do you ever start doing employee evaluations?
Jason mentioned it the other day, so.
I don't think we're gonna make it till August though, because you're not gonna be here till
Yeah.
August.
In your,
And a little later, David, I just brought it up because
Why don't we schedule, when are you coming back?
well, so here's what I just discovered today, is that I have a meeting in DC as part of Marine Resources, and it's over in DC at like 2:30 in the afternoon, but I'm not gonna get back here, so I will miss the first meeting on
What, you
Wednesday.
drove in Ikea?
Huh?
If you drove in Ikea?
Yeah. Take a jet pack.
well, maybe.
But so I'll be back that
First of
night, but
September?
I'll just miss that.
Well, either that or like in early August sometime, maybe you wanna do the ones you do, and maybe you wanna get the packages out to us. You know what I mean? And then, because we have to do them and then submit them, right? So you could either say you want them back for the second meeting in August.
Yeah, I mean, I'd
Or you want them, yeah, I don't know.
I'll be back
And
that
then we
night.
could do them on a Wednesday night, early in September.
Whatever you guys want.
If I told you that I wanted them back by the last day of August, and we could do them the first meeting in September, what's the first meeting in September?
Well, can I make a recommendation? Okay, but one recommendation is to do it on the off Wednesday. Well,
Right.
because it's not gonna work out well for me.
All right.
The first Wednesday is the sixth, the second is the 13th.
The first is the sixth in September, right?
Yep.
And then maybe on the 13th.
Well, I was gonna say,
How
you want to do
about,
the 30th?
how about, will you be back for the last week of August?
Oh, I'll be back August 2nd. I'm just going to get.
So what's the last Wednesday of
Well, is
August?
there's 5,
So the last Wednesday is the 30th.
Last Wednesday?
Wanna do them?
30th.
and there's 5 Wednesdays.
Yeah, fine with me.
Yeah.
Fine with me.
How about 30th of August?
Yes.
We usually start at
Get
like
them
4.
back to me a week before that?
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
All right, so August 30th.
Yeah.
So we'll start at, what, 4 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yep.
Go in,
Yeah.
what, 15-minute increments? I don't know.
Yeah, some of them were really quick and
Yeah.
that's how good
We
too.
run over, we run over.
Yeah, 15 minutes sounds a little short.
Yeah, but we were doing half hours.
Some of them, yeah, some of them we get ahead, right?
But
Yeah.
20
Yeah, I mean, you know, with a half an hour,
No, I think a half hour is too long.
yeah,
20
way
minutes.
too long. Run out of things to talk about.
Makes them nervous.
Okay. All right, so you guys want to work on, I'm going to set in, we're going to work on we're going to have a written policy for, we're appointing a new EMS director in the very near future. After we do some interviews and everything. And we want to just, we've never had a written policy for the EMS director to follow. So we want to create such a policy and be able to give it to the new EMS director. So people can sit around and watch us deliberate this, or go on to better things.
Well, I know where I'm gonna go.
You're gonna stay, Phil? Any questions?
How many applicants did you get?
We had a total of 5.
5, that's not bad.
Well, to be perfectly honest, 3 of them were from out of state, and
Uh-huh,
I don't think they realize that it is a part-time job.
uh-huh.
I don't think anybody's gonna move here from Utah for a part-time job.
Well, you never can tell.
You never know. Are we adjourning the meeting or are we continuing the meeting to have this discussion with?
We're not gonna make decisions, right?
No, we don't make
We're not gonna
any
say
decisions.
you
We could adjourn.
No, 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 no.
We could adjourn the meeting and consider